Hello YouTube, Liverpool fan in Japan here, the Miyazaki Mansai. I thought today we'll go over the midfield rebuilds of various clubs in the Premier League, especially looking at the top clubs, right? So let's start first and foremost with Arsenal, right there near the top of the table, behind Liverpool of course. They got rid of Lokonga, Granit Xhaka, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and they brought in Declan Rice and Kai Havertz. Now Kai Havertz floats in between that area of forward, deep lying forward, midfield. He has been predominantly played in midfield and the midfield three for Arsenal. He's even played at left back for the national team, left wing back. Anyway, how has it been going for Arsenal? Well, first and foremost, Declan Rice, unanimously, people have been thinking that he's been a massive success. And I would buy into that. The reason is he gives them a bit of solidarity in the midfield. He's hard as nails. He's got an English premium. He comes from West Ham. He knows all about the Premier League. He's box to box. He's a defensive midfield as well. He can clean up in front and the back. He's technically proficient. He's brave. He does have a winning mentality. He really thinks he could go far in a game, and it shows because near the end of the game, he's always driving for success. He wants to grab victory out of the jaws of a draw, or even get a draw from the jaws of defeat. That is Declan Rice summed up in a nutshell. Actually, he's very proficient. He's very comfortable with the ball. He knows what he's doing with the ball. He's got a vision. His ball control is pretty good. His passing game is decent. He can bomb forward. He's adding goals to his game as well. He'll never be as proficient as a Lampard or a Gerrard, but he's not that type of player. Predominantly, he is a number 6. He is defensive role with the added attributes of being able to go forward as well. Kind of like what N'Golo Kante did. You never expect Kante to really chip in the goals and assists, but Rice probably has more in the attacking game than Kante, which is surprising because N'Golo Kante started as a winger, right? Which is why he's technically proficient with the ball at his feet and driving forward. He's got a turn of pace as well. Declan Rice is all around a very, very good midfielder and makes Arsenal stronger. The main thing he really adds is that mental fortitude. When the going gets tough, he will always appear. He will never go hiding in the big games. He'll always be available for the ball, and he's been a solid addition to the Arsenal midfield. It'd predominantly be himself and Odegaard and Kai Havertz. And let's go on to Kai Havertz, for example. So much maligned because you know that he scored a winning goal in a Champions League final. People mention that against Manchester City. Actually, without Ederson's intervention, I don't even know if that Havertz goal goes in, whether he gets presented with such a clear chance. He is very hit and miss. He's technically amazing. Very taut, very silky. Can finish as well, but he does fluff his lines somewhat, and he is very hot and cold, hit and miss. He can't get a sustained run of form. He has technical ability and technical attributes and played at the highest level and is a high caliber player, having played for Chelsea. Not being an overall success there, being sold to Arsenal for a similar price, which is very surprising. But actually, it's not a similar price because you account for inflation and the price that a midfielder goes for. If it was a Kai Havertz, a Bayer Leverkusen, he would have been an absolute £1 million player probably this season because he is on the up. It's like Florian Wirtz. Florian Wirtz is highly coveted, amazing attacking midfield player with the world at his feet. Really bad at injury, but he'll go for a very, very high price because there's not many players like him with that ceiling, with that amount of potential. So Kai Havertz in the Arsenal team being shuffled into that midfield, it's a bit unbalanced. He's not a natural midfielder. What does he add? He's got offensive attributes. He can contribute in the final third as well. He can pop up late. He can get the headers. He can go to the back post. He can link up the play. He's a technically proficient player, but always I would have imagined him as more of a number 10. But obviously Odegaard covers that number 10 role. So with that kind of trio there, Declan Rice obviously defensive. Kai Havertz probably floats in between the lines because he can contribute in both phases. He's not the most defensively proficient, but Odegaard is so good at the playmaking role that obviously even Odegaard and Rice itself is a strong enough midfielder. You've got Kai Havertz with his potential technical attributes and giving him the minutes on the pitch. I think Arsenal's rebuild has been fairly successful. If they sign another top quality midfielder, this could be the midfield in the Premier League. You're thinking probably someone like Nicolo Barella of that kind of caliber. Even Sandro Tonali. If Arsenal got Tonali, I would have thought that would be a hell of a base. Obviously Tonali's banned, from the betting, but Rice, Tonali, and Odegaard in front of him. Phew, that is a sexy midfield. And even Douglas Luiz, right? Douglas Luiz is showing his form and potential. I heard he's arguing with Unai Emery because he knows his quality. Unai Emery knows his quality and he's trying to get the most out of him. And Douglas Luiz has that kind of cocky arrogance, that X factor around him to really make it the highest level because you need that belief in yourself. Douglas Luiz, Declan Rice and Odegaard, it is a really, really nice midfield as well. Obviously with your Sakas, and maybe Arsenal do need a forward first and foremost, but that's Arsenal's midfield. I rate it very, very highly. I think their midfield rebuild has been quite successful so far. I'll probably give it something like an 8 out of 10 because undoubtedly Odegaard is the star, but Declan Rice is captain material and he brings that, that mental fortitude and that it gets rid of that softness that Martin Keown was talking about in the previous seasons, and it makes Arsenal more rigid and more solid. Obviously, Jurriën Timber, another signing in the summer, long-term injury, he's been very, very good. I think yeah, they've been injury hit as well, but that midfield in Arsenal is promising, and that starting midfield, Having bought in Havertz and Rice obviously the more successful, but Havertz is a decent player, not for that price point, and he's not the star player. He has potential, hasn't lived up to form, but a good overall player. So I think they've got a good midfield. So 8 out of 10 seems fair. And you add that lot to Emile Smith-Rowe, who's coming back from injury. Thomas Partey, who is a solid defensive midfielder. Obviously, they played quite well with him in previous seasons. But yeah, he has that scandal looming over his head, and they're looking to get rid of him. I think he's on high wages as well. El Neni is an absolute trooper for Arsenal. You know, he does the job. He's solid. He loves the club. He's earned his worth there. Fabio Vieira, probably flying under the radar a little bit. He's good technically, come from Portugal League, but he hasn't really lit it up. He has done good performances on odd occasion, but he's not consistent, and he won't really break into that Arsenal team. But apart from that, I think they have a good base, because especially Zinchenko plays for the national team in midfield. He's actually very technically proficient. He's a winner from Man City as well, so Arsenal have nothing to fear. Their rebuild has gone quite well. I think they can be happy with their midfield squad. Now, I'd assume Jorginho is probably the first one to get rid of. Obviously, a bit high wages coming from Chelsea. He's been a metronome for the team, deep-lying playmaker, sets the tempo, can take penalties as well. He's decent, but he's not an overall good replacement for Declan Rice at the bottom on the base of the midfield, for example. And I think even Partey outshines him in terms of physicality and athleticism. But Jorginho has a place, and he can slot in, and he's got that leadership quality to bring Arsenal through tough games. So overall, their midfield is pretty strong. But they're looking to get rid of Partey, get rid of Jorginho, maybe upgrade on El Neni. Don't know, Fabio Vieira's place in there, but Odegaard is definitely a starter, so is Rice, and let's see what Havertz does. But yeah, overall, they can call it pretty successful. Havertz, questionable signing, but you can't complain. They're near the top of the table. Now let's talk about a fun one. Chelsea FC, London Blue. Enzo Fernandez, 107 million from Benfica. Benfica are laughing. They're loving it. They're rinsing clubs. I mean, we did spend a bit of a load on Darwin Núñez as well, but I love Núñez. Agent of Chaos makes games really fun. But let's start with Enzo Fernandez now. Silky quality. He is very easy on the eye, can flow in the game, control the tempo. Great first touch, great passing, great progressive passing. He is a classy player. In a classy team, he would really shine. But in the Chelsea team, he looks like he's down tools a little bit. I think he's technically awesome. He kind of ran the show against Liverpool in the opening game of the season, right? Enzo Fernandez, when he played with Alexis McAllister for Argentina, they won the World Cup. Obviously, they had a fantastic squad. They had Messi leading them as well. They had old heads like Di Maria. Yeah, Rodrigo de Paul as well. What a midfield trio. But he's not lighting it up for Chelsea. He's just really not contributing. He's not making that assist before the goal. Conor Gallagher, Enzo Fernandez, preferred midfield alongside Moise Caicedo. Moise Caicedo, 115 million for Moise Caicedo. Why is he not being talked about more? Dominant physically in a Brighton team with Alexis McAllister. He absolutely shone. He was highly coveted before he went to Brighton. I think Manchester United and other teams scouted him, but there was a network of scouting and agent issues that, lots of payments. Only Brighton untangled that and managed to get their man, and they earned 115 million off him. A little bit of a shame, because Liverpool could have done it with him. He would have been really good, but I don't know. I never really warmed up to his personality, and this whole kind of affair with the scout and him not wanting to change his mind, get that bag in London, in London Blue. Good on him. He gets his money. He's playing. He's not going to win anything relatively soon, but him and Enzo Fernandez on paper looks like a really, really solid base to any midfield, but they're not clicking because Caicedo, the game just bypasses him by. He doesn't seem to have the positional awareness that he had at Brighton to really break things up. His athleticism kind of bailing him out, tackling, winning the ball back, setting Brighton off. The long-range passing that I thought that Chelsea would be getting, distributing out to the wings like Mykhailo Mudryk, for example, it's almost non-existent. He's just really, really underperforming. He's been one of the major flops of the season for his price tag. He's still a decent player, don't get me wrong. He can get his 5 and 6 out of 10s every week, but he had a goal chalked off, the slid left shot into the goal mouth, ruled out for an earlier foul. But yeah, very, very underwhelming. Definitely not worth 115 million, and they will sell him for a loss eventually when he down tools and he wants to go to Real Madrid or whatever. But can they really sell these players? Enzo Fernandez, Moise Caicedo on hefty wages on a long-term contract, these 7, 8.5 year deals, and I think Enzo Fernandez even renewed in January. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So the thinking behind that is to avoid financial fair play, to extend the amortization of the transfer fee over many seasons, because you only account for it divided by the amount of years on the contract, which is leading up to a ticking time bomb, because eventually that amortization will come to fruition and that value will be reflected. But here's the clever part that Chelsea and Todd Bowley were banking on, the fact that even if you sell the player, even for a loss, you get that transfer fee straight into your pockets to subset and offset against the any incoming transfer fees, which is amortized again over the length of the transfer fee. So actually you get an instant buffer, an instant windfall of the transfer fee amount straight into the accounts, into your books when you sell a player. So even at a loss, you can kind of make up for your cash flow long term. And I think Premier League just sanctioned, they all agreed that within 5 years you have to amortise it. You can't amortise it over the whole period, which is 8 years and above, 7 years for in Chelsea's instance, for example. But yeah, wow, Enzo Fernandez. And you're still playing Conor Gallagher. And Conor Gallagher, he is a dog. He's got the fight in him. He's British. He's got premium. He's technically proficient. Had a great season in Crystal Palace. Really drove him on. I think he's a decent player, but he's not a title-winning player. But you need players like Gallagher in the squad to kind of carry you through on the rainy days, because he's got the mentality. He'll fight. He'll fight for you. He'll keep fighting. You would have expected Enzo Fernandez to fight as well. He looks like he's got the dog in him, but I don't think he wants to be at Chelsea. I think he's the one that leaking things to the press and showing his discontent. Maybe he doesn't like the manager. Maybe he doesn't get on with Pochettino, which is surprising because Argentinian, connection right there. But Pochettino, he's also down tools a little bit since the Champions League final. It looks like his soul's been drained. Tottenham just couldn't put a dent in Liverpool. Alisson played a blinder. I know they tried. They huffed and they puffed. But yeah, Divock Origi, Lord Origi coming on, slotting it away, Matip setting up. Legends, absolute legends. I love these guys. The Giraffe, all-time great for me in Liverpool squad for free transfer as well. Wowzers. And he used to be a defensive midfielder coming in as a centre-back. Partnered with Van Dijk, that is solid. I don't think ever anyone has taken advantage of any flaws in our system, because Van Dijk and Matip as a unit, very strong. It's yet to be seen where Konate and Van Dijk, who are physically dominant and imposing, is a better partnership than Matip and Van Dijk in their prime. I know Gomez and Van Dijk had a great partnership, but I digress. I'm going away from here. Carney Chukwuemeka as well, signing him in. I don't really know how he fits in so much, because I think he's only appeared twice or something, right? I think he has scored a goal, but yeah, he's just not going to get in ahead of his big name. He's got energy, vibrance and enthusiasm. And didn't he have that show where you have to guess the amount of things in a certain amount of time? I think it was him and Ugo Chukwu, was it? Or was it Madueke? I think it might be Madueke actually, but they got the lowest guesses of any round. You name 3 in 30 seconds or whatever, and sometimes they still couldn't do it, or they did, I can't remember. But anyway, I don't really know how he fits in. And Ugo Chukwu as well, he has the same kind of problem. Athletic, high potential, highly rated, defensive midfielder, but just can't break in. High rising stars in the global game, and Bowley's trying to play Todd Ball here, which is getting the real value of potential future stars. But this only works if they do fulfill their potential, and Chelsea have a great season and they show the attributes to make other clubs want to buy them at inflated prices in the future. This confused transfer policy at Chelsea, it's almost like Bowley's having a massive kind of sausage fest, a hot sausage fest, expecting some of these players to become an absolute banger. The one will become a Mangalitsa pig or something, give you absolute premium worth and taste and delicious performances on the pitch. Trying to, imitate the successful years where John Terry quoted Makaleli Big Sausage or something like that. I don't know. I'm massively digressing. Let's get back on topic. And I'm not going to count Cole Palmer, because Cole Palmer's a good player. He would have been a success at Man City, only a bit part player. But he's a major player at Chelsea. But it seems as though large kind of fish in a small pond, which is funny to say because he's a youngster, a rising potential star. The mental fortitude to take a late game penalty to obviously win the points. He is a class player. I really like what I see from him. He can play attacking midfield, but I'm not going to include him because I think he's more of a wide kind of winger type of player. And then saying that, Sterling as well from Manchester City. I never thought Sterling had the technical attributes to really succeed at Chelsea, to take the game by the scruff of the neck, because he needs a system where he can pop up at the back post and score it. He's not the best shooter, and he's a winger as well. But let's go back to midfielders. Romeo Lavia. Obviously Liverpool wanted Lavia. We wanted Caicedo in the summer. We bid for Caicedo because they bid for Lavia, and in the end they got both. Is it Lavia for 56 million? 56 million, and he hasn't even played. And I've read somewhere that he preferred Liverpool, but his agent said, no, you got to go to Chelsea for your career, for your money. For your career. No, we know it's for money, right? Money talks, and he would have been class for Liverpool as well at the base of midfield athleticism. I don't think he can take the ball under pressure, and they would have targeted him as well, and distribution, and he needs to get into kind of Klopp's tactical plan to distribute the ball. The pivot is very hard. I don't think he would have been trusted early days. You would have expected Thiago to be fit as well, but recurrence of the injury, Lavia would have been a good backup option. But we got Wataru Endo. We'll come to Liverpool in a bit. But yeah, obviously not making an appearance. He has to be down as a major flop. Big investment. I know Chelsea have been unlucky with injuries. Lavia and Nkunku, for example, would have added something. But does he get into a Chelsea midfield? I don't think so. I think they're always going to play Endo Fernandez. Endo Fernandez is a banker. And so is Moses Caicedo, just because of the fee and what he could bring if he lives up to his potential and what they thought they were getting when they bought him, which leaves the third spot. And Conor Gallagher's actually been pretty good in the advanced role. He's probably more box-to-box, but in the advanced role, he's been making things happen for Chelsea. So yeah, I don't think Lavia goes into their starting 11 anytime soon, and even next season it's hard to see him cementing a place because he fulfills the same function as Caicedo, really. Caicedo does have a good long ball game, if he ever discovers it again, and Lavia is just a miniature younger version of Caicedo, who's also relatively young. Questionable transfer there if they put Caicedo and Lavia on the bench and Fernandes further forward, but I don't think Fernandes likes to play that more progressive offensive role. He likes to dictate and always get on the ball, which means he'll be roaming in midfield. So overall, a very confused transfer policy for Chelsea. They're not dominating any midfield anytime soon. Interesting. I'm loving it because obviously the inflated fees they paid, and Todd Bowley, coming in with his billions and billions of Todd Ball economics, and he's just signed Shohei Ohtani, right? Deferring the fee to the end of contract. Major Japanese baseball star, Showtime. I don't know much about baseball, but I know Ohtani's got a massive rear derriere because all baseball players who really make it out for themselves have a massive badonkadonk, and he's got a baby face as well. He's a genuine humble guy. We love him here in Japan. Not even football, but Ohtani would have been a better midfielder than what they signed in the summer because he's all arounder. He can pitch and he can bat. I digress again. Chelsea's transfer overhaul for their midfield, it's not working. It's just not working. Good players on paper, but in reality in the Premier League they are where they belong. They are where they deserve to be, and it's just failed. The transfer policies just failed. They spent so much and don't even have a recognised proper striker, and Jackson's not going to even hit 15 goals this season most likely. So yeah, let's give him 6 out of 10 for effort, for opening the money bags, for making these players rich beyond their wildest dreams so they can down tools. They don't even need to try anymore because they've got guaranteed wage and income for 7-8 years. Thank you for securing these youngsters' promising future. Let me know if you agree or disagree, but yeah, they've massively underperformed this midfield, and that is the backbone for any successful team. You've got to have a strong base, and then the midfield's got to win you the games, dominating the game and letting the offensive players come into play. I'm not going to talk too much about Tottenham. I think they're going to massively slide down the table. Injuries have absolutely crushed them. Ange Postecoglou starting to be figured out. He started really well, obviously, with the back-to-back manager of the months. Love his personality, cheeky chappy. James Maddison, one of the signings of the season. He would have been a strong player for any team because he's got the English premium. But actually, because of that premium, he is great value for money. So cheap as chips. He's got a great attitude as well. He's an offensive player. He's got great playmaking ability. Can actually operate from deep as well. He's very surprising. I knew he was a quality player at Leicester, but yeah, really turning on, and they've actually got a pretty decent midfield. Maddison, Sarr, who I think is massively underrated. His potential is sky high. He's very, very young, but he's covering a lot of the off-the-ball areas of the field and areas of play that you just don't see, similar to what Endo. Sarr is a very, very hot player, and they're getting a lot out of Yves Bissouma as well. Bissouma, he was a former Liverpool target. Great athleticism as well. Really puts in a shift. Bissouma, Sarr, Maddison. It's a really good midfield. Don't need to talk more about it. Their midfield is set for a while. They only brought Maddison anyway, so it's not a massive rebuild this summer, but Maddison is being a key part of their start of the season success. Obviously, they're sliding down table because he's injured. And now we get to talk about my team, Merseyside Reds. Pro Evolution Soccer lingo. Liverpool FC. You'll never walk alone. Anfield midfield rebuild. We've been yearning for this for ages, my goodness, and it almost didn't happen. Let's put this into context. We lost Fabinho, our starting 6, who we would have expected, and Klopp would have expected, be part of the squad this season until Saudi Arabia came in and said, Fabinho, money, and we had to offload him, right? He's on the downturn. Oh, I like Fabinho. He's really been a dominant 6 for a long time. For a while, I thought he was the best world-class 6 in the world. It must have been half a season, maybe a full season, but he was pivotal to everything we achieved. The Lighthouse, the Hoover, the Dyson. He can sweep up the back line. He joins into the centre backs, tall, aerially dominant, can pass out as well. Got a good short passing game, got a good long shot, got a good long passing game. Came from Monaco, predominantly a right back starting with, became a defensive midfielder, absolutely shined and showed his class at Liverpool. Maybe underutilised for Brazil, they preferred Casemiro. Yeah, why not? But they also preferred Fred. But he did have athleticism, which Fabinho lacks. But Fabinho was clutch in the key moments and actually contributed to a lot of our wins. We lost the Lighthouse. He was on downturn. We earned good money for him, got his wages off the books. We lost Oxlade-Chamberlain as well. Never the same after the Roma injury. He's just coming to prominence. Really driven, really good attacking midfielder. Great in the dressing room as well. It's very sad to see him leave. His career was unfulfilled, but he's lighting up in Turkey. Great for him. Happy family times with, was it Perry Edwards as well? A little mix. Those little minxes. Yeah, so Oxlade-Chamberlain, only good words to say about him. We should have treated his farewell a bit better, showed a bit more respect, let him know who's going before, making the announcement. Who else we lose? We lost Naby Keita. Naby lad never lived up to his potential. He would have been a game changer, critical piece, coming to his prime, but is always injured, made out of glass. In fact, that's too nice, because glass is actually solid until a shattering event. He was made of cookies. Delicious, nabby lad with technical proficiency and skills, and looked awesome. He had a bit of everything, just couldn't handle the Premier League. Actually, no, screw that. Even back in the German league, in the Bundesliga, his body can't cope with it anymore. It's sad because he on his day was a great player. That Manchester United performance, they couldn't touch him. Who is marking Keita? Keita's the freedom of Manchester. I remember that line. Goldbridge, right? Yeah, so he was gone as well. James Milnerino, right? The most professional athlete at Liverpool for decades. You know, he set the standards, set the performance. He was the leader amongst leaders, even though Henderson was officially the captain. We'll get to Henderson in a bit. But Milner, we lost his experience. Klopp was overruled. I think Klopp wanted to keep him for one further season, but good on him. He's re-energized. He is performing well for Brighton. Brighton's a great club. They're benefiting from his experience. He's been injured a few times, but yet you can't doubt his commitment. The best free signing in Liverpool's history. The best free signing. He's right up there. Gary McAllister, Joel Matip, James Milner, you know, mix and match. They were all absolutely quality. Never take for granted that Milner was dominating the lactic test every single season, setting the standards, showing how it's done. Now we've got Salah. Salah's dominating lactic test. Sexy Szoboszlai came in second. We'll go Szoboszlai in a bit as well. Who else did we lose? We lost a few more. Tyler Morton out on loan as well. Balagizi out on loan as well. We also lost Jordan Henderson, our inspirational captain. I made a video about that. You know, he's upsetting a few people, obviously, with his decisions and the way he's talking about himself, almost like in a third party. The Endo has gone to lighten up the Saudi League and make it prominent. It's not about the money. It's about the reputation of the league and growing the game in front of like 200 fans. Something like that. No, fair play to him. He's doing what's fair for his family, what's best for his family, what's best for him. We didn't need him at Liverpool at the moment. We've got such a dominant midfield at the moment. We're top of the table, baby. I love Jordan Henderson, respect him for everything he's done. It's just really questionable with the way he's doing those media kind of conferences, and Southgate keeps picking him as well, which is driving pundits and fans mad. No disrespect at all. Liverpool legend, Liverpool captain. He's done everything he could do. The engine room, leg pain, going through the barriers, pain barriers, giving every blood, sweat and tears. Respect to Jordan Henderson's name. And yeah, sure, light it up in the Saudi League with Gerrard, our former captain as well. Why not? Let's increase the game over there, make more Liverpool fans in Saudi Arabia. I like Saudi Arabia. We had a really, really nice student. My parents do student accommodation. We had a nice Saudi Arabia student. He was absolutely lovely. And just on Henderson as well, he came back in tip-top shape, you know, doing the boxing, pre-season boxing. Robertson was like, whoa, lad, look at those abs. Abtastic. He went into Klopp's office. He's like, look at my fitness. I'm back in my prime, baby. I'm starting position. And Klopp was like, you're on the bench, bro. And Henderson's like, you what? And Henderson's like, I didn't feel loved, mate. I'm out of here. And Klopp was like, Jane matane, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Klopp was preparing the Japanese because he knew what was coming in. Endo Wataru-san, we're not worthy. Just before we go into the incomings as well, don't forget Fabio Carvalho. He's a midfielder. He's not a winger. He's an attacking midfielder, number 10. And he hasn't really got attitude problems. He just wanted to play, show what he's about. He scored the late winner against Newcastle, was it? But yeah, he never really had a position, and I felt for him because he was lighting it up for Fulham. I wouldn't say actually lighting it up, but he's performing well because he had a fixed position, and Fulham were very attacking, and he was a key contributor to that as well. So it's unfortunate for him. His career stalled a bit. Leipzig, another promising player in his position. He just doesn't play. It's unfortunate. Let's see what happens in the future. He's still got a long way to go in his career. Hopefully he can get a good loan, and then we see what he becomes. But yeah, let's talk into the incoming. So first in the door, Alexis Majestic McAllister. Wow, his game intelligence, World Cup winner, winning mentality, the ginger ninja. He's actually surprisingly ginger under the right light. I mentioned that, right? He really is ginger. Put him under the right light, put a flashlight on him or something, a black light, no, not a black light, on his hair, Google Images, he turns ginger. And it's all good because we always need a ginger on our team. Risa Rocket, right? Anyway, I digress. Yeah, he brings a bit of subtlety, a bit of silkiness. He's got a little bit about him, oozes class and confidence. Now, he's not the ultra supreme playmaker like a Juan Roman Raquel maybe. He keeps things going and he can perform in all roles in the midfield, whether it's central midfield, defensive midfield and attacking midfield. We thought it was a midfield number 8, box to box, being an attacking third in the half space on the left, in place of Curtis Jones or Gavin Butcher, who'll come into in a second. But he's been played on a number 6 role, which people have been questioning as well, because he's very good at breaking that initial press from opposition. Initial press onto the 6th position, as we saw against Crystal Palace, is super popular right now because every team builds from the 6th position, whether it's a Rodri, whether it's a Michael Carrick, whether it's a Xavi Alonso, whether it's a Pirlo, whether it's Sandro Tonali, whether it's a Thiago Alcantara, you name it. Endo and McAllister in that position. McAllister is more well versed at taking the ball under pressure because he's got little tiki-taka silky skills in the tight position to get himself out of trouble. But saying that, he does lose the ball as well in the number 6 position. It's a thankless task. It's a really thankless task. You have to have a lot about you, a lot of courage to keep getting the ball and calling for the ball again and again under pressure, and knowing what you're going to do with it, and you have to trust the positions of your teammates that they will be where you expect them to be when you play it off or lay it off or start a transition. So McAllister being a key proponent of our team, and he's very young. He's still very young. I actually included him in under 25 tier list. I did that video. Check it out afterwards. McAllister, undoubted successful signing, and he will be for years and years to come. And Dominic Szoboszlai. So here we go. Kefran Turam. People like Manu Kone, Kefran Turam, João Paulinho. They wanted Ugarte at the start of the season, right? And we got Szoboszlai, sexy Szoboszlai, in place of Kefran Turam. Kefran Turam's actually doing pretty well, but yeah, owned by the Radcliffe Corporation in France. It's hard to get him out of there. He'll probably be Man United bound or somewhere in the future. He could be a good Liverpool player as well. Do we really need him? Probably not at the moment. People are talking about Andre 3000, outcast. Your mama. No, anyway, Szoboszlai, he was so key to our midfield rebuild that Klopp, and rare for Liverpool, played a blinder by paying the 60 million in one go. Leipzig, last day, deadline approaching, 60 million, take it. Official verbal confirmation, in you come sexy Sobbers, the hairy 8 that we needed. He's so hairy. And even in Liverpool's squad in the background, they know how hairy he is because they talk about how hairy he is. Check out the pictures. He's sexy, he's unique, he's magnifico. He looks better after a game, sweaty, but he's not really sweaty either. He just is a machine. But he needs to be rested a bit because he's burning out a bit. He's not having the early pre-season, mid-season kind of downturn, because he's outrun everybody. And actually he can play all phases of the game because he's been played as a deep lying 6 double pivot towards the end of the game, granted, when some of the other players have been subbed off because he needs to make something happen. He's still got the energy levels, capacity and the skill set from a deep position to make things happen. He's been in a more reclusive role at the back to drive and break through the lines when opposition tiring. He's a long shooter from both sides, got the goals, he's got good assists as well, he's cheeky, he's got a little cut inside on the edge of the penalty area, winning the penalties, winning free kicks, got a great free kick delivery and corner kick delivery. We actually need that in this squad right now because Robertson, Tsimikas, Trent can all do it as well. We've always had good free kick takers. Our set pieces is actually underrated in Liverpool. We are dominant on set pieces. I heard Goldbridge and other people complaining and whining about Manchester United set pieces. We've been absolutely piss poor, but I think this is a magnificent signing for years to come because he loves Liverpool. He had that Gerrard tattoo. Did Gerrard really say that? I don't know if he really said that. He's Hungary's captain. We're building a team of captain. Wataru Endo, Stuttgart captain, Japanese captain, Andy Robertson, Scotland captain, Van Dijk, Dutch captain, Liverpool captain, Trent, vice captain. Is Luis Diaz Colombian captain? I can never remember this as well, but we have got a lot of captain and leadership material in that squad. It is fantastic. It is amazing. That is what makes us mentality monsters. Everyone takes the game by scruff and neck. Taking over Henson and Milner, you really needed that leadership material. And Van Dijk's bringing a cool, edgy vibe and it's really upping his game as well because he trusts his body. But back to Szoboszlai. Wow, he's got everything. Maybe he's not scoring headers or he's not dominant physically. But he's got the physicality, but he's maybe not the the absolute hench monster in midfield. But we don't need that. His technical prowess is off the charts. He can assist, he can shoot, he can defend, he works hard, he looks good, he's got a bit of cheekiness about him. He can start the game, he can come off the bench, he can do a bit of everything, he can run 90 minutes. He's outstanding. He's Liverpool number 8 for the next 10 years. And he wants to stay. I don't think anyone can tempt him away from Liverpool. And I love it. I love it. I'm surprised no one else was in for him. But no, we had that good relationship, right? We do have a good relationship with RB Leipzig. We paid him for Navigator. And then Wataru Endo in the scuffle of the Caicedo mess and the Lavia mess. And really, I do understand the situation. We don't want to compete with him financially. The lure of London and the lure of money. And we weren't showing that interest in Caicedo early days, which is a bit of confusing transfer strategy. But Schmadtke, I still love George Schmadtke because he's got Szoboszlai, McAllister, Endo and Gravenberch. Now, this is a true midfield overhaul. What season can you remember from Liverpool, any other team, where they replace every midfielder, almost every midfielder on the books, with a brand new batch that is starting every game and is cohesive and top of the league at Christmas time? I hope we will be top of the league. We're top of the league right now. Not forgetting Thiago Alcantara, who's been injured this season, but he will have a key part to play because of his experience, and he offers something that no one else in Liverpool, hardly even in world football, breaking the lines, controlling the tempo, dictating from deep, technical prowess and showing off in training. Him and Lucho Diaz got that love relationship in training. Bajcetic come back as well. We've got lots of options in midfield. I'm talking about Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones. Wow, it's all good. Got Gakpo can go and progressive number 8 on left hand side. Back to Wataru Endo. Endo-san, Wataru-san, Endo Wataru. He's a pride of Japan. He leads us with quality. He's played against all opposition, whether it's Germany, whether it's France, whether it's Argentina, whether it's Portugal. He leads from the front. He's got the gum shield in his mouth. His mentality, his composure, his characteristics. He's a love-hate player. I'm going to make a video about Endo and the genius. He's a player that we didn't know we wanted, but we absolutely needed, because he's a leader, he's a captain, he holds the line, and he'll take criticism with his face. He'll go for a brick wall, he'll smash that brick wall, and he'll drag his teammates kicking and screaming. And we need him in the Europa League, we need him in the Cups as well, to bring his experience and vital composure in holding the line. I explained in Crystal Palace game, it wasn't his fault. He didn't get the support from the system or the players or the outs, and they targeted him as well. He's going to have ups and downs. He's a 30-year-old coming to the Premier League, but he is a young 30. Lots of mileage in the legs. He saved us, absolutely saved us with that goal when he came on. Turned the fortunes around and allowed Trent and the players to push on confidence, because he is the only dedicated destroyer 6 archetype in Liverpool. Thiago is more of a deep-lying playmaker from 6. Endo has that in his game as well, but Endo can offer an offensive third, defensive third in the middle of the pitch. He can actually slot in the back line and fullback as well. I explained it in my initial Endo video. What a signing and a bargain. Value for money, defensive midfielder. He is the best in the world transferred this summer, bar none. I will live by that, and I won't die by that. I'm not going to die. Liverpool fan in Japan forever, baby. No, what am I doing? Anyway, yes. Wataru Endo, for me, is an undoubted success. We needed that. We needed that in the squad. We've got that in the squad. He gives the options. And Klopp just said, just look at him. Look at him. Look at that goofy smiley face. Hard as nails. Wataru-san. Japan pride. Going to Stuttgart, captain Stuttgart, going to Liverpool. He's not quite the captain of Liverpool, but he's respected, well respected. He taught Konate the secret of the Kamehameha. And now Konate, he's unstoppable. He's like a colossal titan from Attack on Titan, Shingeki no Kyojin. What an ending to that series, by the way. The anime ending's better than the manga ending. If you don't know what I'm talking about, anime, Attack on Titan, see it. It's a masterpiece. Gets the mind flowing. Eren Yeager. Anyway, yes, he also taught Elliot the Kamehameha. We just saw it against Crystal Palace. Endo's having an influence behind the scene that you can't see. We're winning the games because of Endo's existence. You could tell Johnny, he just exists. But the fact that he exists is helping us win games. Enough about that. You can agree to disagree. I'll do a full video on the full pros and cons. Let's take video footage. Let's take clips. I don't know if he'll get copyright striked or whatever. I don't care. Let's do one. I want to do one on Endo. And then we go to Ryan Gravenberch. Yes, so he is the wild card of the pack. Initially, people don't know whether to go close or give him space, because going close, he turns you. He's got a really gangly, weird first touch that's always under control. He can go inside, he can go outside. His shot is powerful. It just doesn't go in as much as I'd like. He can drive past a player. He's got a driven cross as well, which Lucho Diaz finished. Beautiful to see. He's got a smile on his face. He's happy. He's part of the squad. He's really enjoying life. I really am a fan of this squad. This midfield makes me happy. Soberslime, McAllister, Endo and Gravenberch coming in. It's got that family feel. You just like these players. It's got a real kind of rapport, a good relationship, a feel-good factor back in Liverpool. And it's a brand new midfield with smiley, cheeky chappies. And complementing our existing batch, Bacetic, Thiago, Elliot, Curtis Jones, Gakpo, for example. I'm loving this midfield. It's great times for the Reds. When did we have such a dominant midfield with high potential, youth, experience, talent, every type of player that you want in midfield? A metronome, a controller, tempo maestro, close ball control, recycler, Mezzala, registrar. We have everything. Even Trent can transition into the midfield role. We've got reverse pivots. We've got inside half space maestros who can really make an impact in front of the forward line, final third, making an impact in those pockets. That's not what you like to see, because Liverpool operate in those pockets really effectively. Our whole game is designed to get a key player into one of those pockets, whether it's Salah or Diaz or even Gravenberch or Sobersai or whoever. Even Endo can get up there. McAllister's effective there, but he plays deeper. You know what I mean. Gravenberch, they're standing off him, giving him time. He needs to understand what he needs to do in certain situations. He can't always progress the ball. He'll get there. This batch of midfielders, Liverpool's overhaul, it's got to be a 10. It's got to be a 10. It's got to be a 10. If we kept Henderson, it just wouldn't have felt the same. If we kept Fabinho, it wouldn't have felt the same. This is Liverpool 2.0, and if Liverpool 2.0 starts from this base with this unit in midfield, controlling the games and the options in there, and Elliot's only going to go from strength to strength. Curtis Jones is very young. Bacetic will come back as well. Thiago will probably leave for past this new, but Sobersai will stay. McAllister will stay. Endo 4-year contract. Gravenberch long-term, high potential, sky high potential. Football Manager is looking good for this team with sky high potential. I've fawned too much about Liverpool. Let's give him 9.5. You can't have perfection. If we had Nicolo Barella or someone, I like Barella a lot. 9.5, fair enough. Let's give a quick mention of Manchester City as well. People don't really realise that Manchester City have gone a little bit under the radar in terms of midfield overhaul because they lost Ilkay Gundogan, who I think is absolutely world-class, stunning player from deep position, from an offensive position. He's saved their bacon so many times, popping with late goals because he's a technical maestro, a tempo maestro, great first touch, great passing range. I thought he was meant to be a sick note. I thought he was meant to be injured all the time coming from Dortmund, but no. He was prominent throughout the years for Manchester City. And replacing him with Kovacic, who's a very, very similar player, but like for like, but it just isn't there for the big moments of the game. He's definitely not going to chip in with as many goals. Kovacic is probably a better dribbler, but he's been injured as well. Gundogan's a big miss for them, but De Bruyne obviously a humongous miss for them this season. He's been the talisman, their maestro, pulling the points and pulling absolute magic from his arse, his ginger ninja arse again. Yeah, De Bruyne is world class. Best mates with Van Dijk as well. Not best mates, but they're good mates. We've seen them on holiday together. It's been an overhaul, isn't it? They've got in Matheus Nunes because they wanted Paqueta from West Ham, right? Lucas Paqueta, very silky baller, works hard, technical, quite big, Brazilian number 10. He would have fit right in City. I'm glad they didn't get Paqueta. They got Matheus Nunes from Wolves, who's heavily linked to Liverpool before. Very technical player, can break the lines, can shoot as well. We haven't seen it so much. He's been injured as well. It's been a bit of a midfield overhaul, isn't it, for City? Rodri's obviously the key player. Without Rodri, everything falls apart. He is holding the world on his shoulder like Atlas, that Titan, right? Is it from Asian mythology? That game, I was number 1 in the world, by the way, that game. Yeah, so without Rodri, it falls apart. Without De Bruyne, huge miss for them. Who else they got in there? Kovacic, Matheus Nunes, Foden can play in there as well. Bernardo Silva, he's a top 5 player in the Premier League for sure. Very silky, don't like him. He don't like Liverpool. It's all good. Rodri talked about Man City getting to Liverpool's heights and global acclaim. I like Rodri. He's a good fella. He cheated as well, that handball. What on earth was that season? It doesn't matter. Midfield overhaul for Manchester City. They're still ticking away. They're going to be up and thereabouts. They're just having a bad run at the moment. Haaland looks injured. I think his relatives, his wife, his dad took him out of the fantasy league team. That says a lot. Are they allowed to play fantasy league team? That's a big indication, right? Yeah, so Manchester City usually dominate the midfield. They've got players stepping into the midfield role. They put Akanji and Stones. Stones is a pseudo midfielder, but he's all traditionally centre back, same as Akanji really. Stones much better than Akanji. They're both technical players, but they don't offer the same as Gundogan, as Rodri, as Bernardo Silva. They got Bernardo Silva still, but yeah, I think they're gettable. They're really gettable, and teams are having a go at Manchester City, and they're crumbling a bit because they just aren't as scary as before. And then you look at the fringe players, Calvin Phillips, Oscar Bob, Rico Lewis, I guess can progress into their very technical player as well. Sergio Gomez, they're on the fringes, they're in their bouts, and Calvin Phillips, like Guardiola loves dissing him in the press. He's absolutely smashing and slating him in the press. And Calvin Phillips is sitting on his arse saying, I've achieved things already. I'm playing for England. Southgate trusts me. I've shown how good I was for Leeds. I'm sitting here on my fat wage package. People are going to bring offers aplenty, huge transfer signing on fee. Could very much go the same way as Drinkwater mental health, very unfortunate family situation, all that kind of stuff. Calvin Phillips is wasting away because he is a talented player, but he's got no form and he just doesn't fit the system, and Guardiola's got some kind of grudge against him because no matter what backhanded compliments, like those crocodile tears with Sergio Aguero leaving, yeah, it's unfortunate, but these players, they just don't have the squad that terrifying, scary, like for like, or even better than starting player like for like. They don't have that, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Is it because of all the financial fair play kind of penalties and fouls looming over their shoulders? I don't know, but they're not scary. So midfield overhaul, it's a downgrade, isn't it? Matheus Nunes, Kovacic, they just don't have it. They don't have it. De Bruyne is a year older as well. There's no Yaya Toure, David Silva, legends at the club to really, really pull them to those heights. It's all about Rodri. It's literally Rodri, and he was already there. And he took some time to become the player he is as well. So don't give me none of, oh yeah, he was started off amazing. He didn't. He rotated, and Fernandinho helped him out a lot. It's a downgrade. It's definitely a downgrade. And Gundogan is the biggest miss. You hear about the mentality that Gundogan brought to Barcelona. He was so appalled that they were satisfied or not absolutely angry at defeats in the dressing room. Gundogan, the winner. He's German as well. Yeah, let's give Man City a 6 for an overhaul. It's not really an overhaul, or it's not an upgrade at least. It's a bit poor, isn't it? And let's end this session with a very positive squad midfield rebuild. Manchester United, here we go, baby. Mason Mount, 60 million quid. Casemiro is like 65 million quid, right? 65 million quid the season before. Christian Eriksen was a free. Who else did they Amrabat, like 9 million euros, is that about 7 million quid because they didn't want to splash out on him? They were not convinced. Sofiane Amrabat, who absolutely peaked on international stage, he could not play any better, and he's drowning in the mire of the midfield squad of Manchester United because Bruno Fernandes, who's being shuffled out to the wing to accommodate this midfield. Scott McTominay, Ten Hag's favourite son, who he hated, benched, didn't get on with, and now he's singing his praises. Box to box, the new Roy Keane reinvented Scott McTominay is the best midfielder for Man United. How bizarre. Bruno Fernandes, he's a quality player, but he whines and moans, and he's your captain. He got suspended on purpose because he didn't want to get absolutely drubbing at Anfield. That would be brilliant. Let's do a proper Liverpool Manchester United preview for that match. Cannot wait. I don't know if McAllister will make it though, because he's saying, he thought he was okay. It's just, cuts on the knees, but there's bruising there. He's in crutches. Doesn't look positive. Hopefully he's on the bench at least. He could add something if we need him. But no, let's trust the midfielders for that game. But let's go back to Manchester United. Mason Mount for 16 million. All these players played under Ten Hag, right? We previously had my mate Cash on the show, and he's talking about how we don't have a vision and system for the team. But Ten Hag's got a lot of his influence in the transfers that came in, and you're talking about Eriksen, you talk about Mason Mount, all who used to play in the Dutch league or play under him, Sofiane Amrabat as well, he'd be familiar with as well. Why are they not playing well? Where does Mason Mount fit? They don't play with a number 10. Mason Mount is definitely number 10. He's not very effective on the wide flanks of Man United. He's not a wide midfielder either. He's a creative, hard-working, technical England player. He's a lesser Joe Cole. 60 million quid for Mason Mount. He's injured and just can't hit a barn door at the moment. What does he really do? Doesn't really progress the ball. He's a nice, silky player who can hold on to the ball. He's an older version of Curtis Jones. Curtis Jones, probably better. Curtis Jones, homegrown Scouse lad. He's probably better than Mason Mount. He won't go for the same price. I don't know why he's not seen in the media as the same calibre. I know Mason Mount somehow is a starter for the national team previously. Gareth Southgate's got a hard on for him. I think that a lot of the managers like his good boy, teacher's pet attitude, technical English player who holds on the ball, hard-working, can run, can shoot. Let's give him that. Crossing is iffy, okay. Set piece delivery, okay. Tackling, it's okay. He's just like average. He's kind of average. He's an average player with a good touch and a decent feel. And look about him. He missed a crucial penalty in Liverpool against Chelsea, penalty shootout. He just doesn't do it on the biggest stages. He scored a few free kicks in his previous positions at previous clubs, but he hasn't scored free kicks for Manchester United as far as I'm aware. He's always just been injured. And Sofiane Amrabat, cracking game at left back for one game. Yep, he's the solution. Put him in defensive midfield, put him in central midfield. They always lose the ball. They always bypass him. He just can't perform. Scott McTominay, once again, has got something about him. He's got the fight. He's got the drive. He's really a Manchester United player, even though he's not a starting player. He's like a Nicky Butt. He's like a Nicky Butt or Phil Neville or someone who does a job, does a role, plays heart on his sleeve, heart, badge, everything. He epitomises what the former Manchester United under Alex Ferguson should have been. It's really shocking, this midfield, isn't it? McTominay, Bruno Fernandes, technical marvel, but I wouldn't want him in the squad. He's a moaner, he's a complainer, he's a whiner, crybaby, and he shouts at his teammates. Awful person, apparently. People are putting their hopes on Kobe Mainoo, who's just come in, a youngster, way too much pressure, looks talented, but Casemiro, he is top of the top tier legend of the game, but coming to Manchester United in a huge wedge when they're playing well. He was playing well. He actually scored a few goals. He's very prominent in the final third for Manchester United because they had no one else. He was the one that needed to drive and make things happen, which is very surprising, right? But now he's come to form and he's fallen off a cliff. He's played so many minutes and he knows this Man United squad at the moment isn't going nowhere. He's down tools, completely down tools. Who will take him? Huge wages, huge transfer fee, huge signing on fee. Van der Beek, how disappointing. He was a very prominent part of Ten Hag's Ajax. And Ajax were playing well, and he could beat the last line at a Lampard and contribute in the final third with assist or a good tiki-taka one touch. And he is the last man running onto the ball, shooting, effective. And Van der Beek can't get in the team. He's completely out of favour. Why can Ten Hag not incorporate Van der Beek, who is very prominent on him under Ajax, into this Man United team? Very strange, very bizarre. And nobody wants him. Very odd. And is it Facundo Pellistri? Yeah, Facundo Pellistri, isn't it? He seems okay. I think he's predominantly midfielder, but he does play wide sometimes. He's not outstanding. Hannibal Medri, the one with the crazy hair. He's got a really good cracker, didn't he, Medri? I think he's technical. He's got the techers, but I don't think Ten Hag relies on the youngsters. He better do on the weekend because they got no one else. I think they got so many suspensions, so many injuries. Their squad is threadbare, and that is a squad like built with £1 billion. Rebuild indeed. Mason Mount, Amrabat. Every time I say Mason Mount, I get hot and sweaty. If we got Mason Mount, we wouldn't have got Szoboszlai. I'll probably say that as a fact. If Mason Mount came to Liverpool, I don't think we would have got Szoboszlai. Oh, sweaty Mason Mount. 60 million quid on a huge wedge. Amrabat, he's not going to stay. There's no way he's going to convert that loan unless he's going to be a long-term squad player. Experienced head. Ericsson, technical player, obviously coming back from the heart issues. Wish him the best as well. He looks good, but he hasn't got the legs for it. Bruno Fernandes as well. Casemiro. I want to think that I'm missing some players in Man United squad because our midfield can't be that threadbare. It's such an unbalanced squad. It's really top heavy, and it's got ancient beings at the back like Johnny Evans. I think that's it, isn't it? That is the Man United midfield apart from youngsters. That is awful. That's a rebuild. Amrabat, Casemiro, Donny van der Beek, McTominay, Mason Mount, and Bruno Fernandes. Wow. That rebuild's got to be like 3 out of 10, isn't it? Oh my god, it is dark days at Man United. Get in. I'm loving it. Good fun video, right? Let me know if you agree in the comments below. Subscribe as always if you haven't already. Lots of fun entertainment coming up. We'll do live streams and watch alongs very soon when I hit the criteria. Like as well helps get this video seen. Fans of all clubs, I don't mind you coming along to watch the Liverpool fan in Japan. We're all about the banter here. Good lads. Miyazaki man, Ichiban. Until next time. Jane, matane, peace.